Seems to be a full moon on a Saturday morning. Here's your spooky spot in NECA Toys Toony Terrors, an American Werewolf in London. Bring the fun of Saturday morning cartoons to your collection with NECA's Toony Terrors. This set of stylized 6-inch scale action figures comes from an American Werewolf in London, the classic 1981 movie that perfectly blends comedy and true horror. This set includes Jack and the Kessler Wolf, comes in a window box packaging with bonus cutout backdrop. Oh! Before we get a closer look at the Toony Terrors American Werewolf in London, Jack Goodman and Kessler Wolf, we thank the folks over at NECA Toys, who in fact did make this review possible by sending over the American Werewolf in London set that we could have a look at in this video. Grabbing, though, this spooky tape measure that will first measure the only figure that actually has the means to stand on his legs. Sorry, Kessler Wolf. I know you have to stand on all fours. Jack, in this case, taking it right to the very top of his head, is a figure that's about 4.5 inches in height. Or it's about, give or take, it's about 12 centimeters tall. Then on to the Kessler Wolf, who is on all fours. We're going to start with the first 4, the one in the front here, and take it all the way to the back of the other 4, one of his 4 legs. And looking at that, you're looking at a figure that's going to be, well, let's first flip it around to inches. We always seem to like to start things with inches. Lengthwise, the Kessler Wolf is about 7 inches in length. Then to flip it back to centimeters, then you're looking at the figure being about 17 centimeters long. I am also pretty sure the comparison you guys would want to see the most is the one comparing the 2 Kessler Wolves. So we're going to move Jack out of the way just for the time being and bring in the ultimate Kessler Wolf so you can see the difference in size and detailing. The Kessler Wolf still remains to be one of my favorite figures that NECA has released over the years. Love that figure. In fact, I did end up, in case anybody was curious, yes, Virginia, there is a Santa Claus, but I did end up also buying a second Kessler Wolf so I could have it displayed in both the mouth open face as well as the mouth closed. I kept it for the mouth closed just simply because the Toony Terror version of the Kessler Wolf also has the mouth closed, but you can see those size-wise. There's quite a considerable size difference between the two. The detailing is also a little bit more simplified on the Kessler Wolf. Of course, that makes the figure look a little bit more like it was pulled from a cartoon episode. While the majority of the Toony Terrors from NECA Toys have all included cut-out cardboard backdrops on the back of the packaging that you could then have displayed behind the figure. They have done, though, something differently when it comes to the American Werewolf in London, not actually having something that you cut out on the back of the box, but rather instead an insert that's inside the box. We're just going to move both the Kessler Wolf and Jack out of the way. You can see there's the in. And we can go ahead and just bring back in Jack. We'll bring back in the Kessler Wolf. And boy, that makes for a nice looking display. If you have any reservations, see what I did there, of actually being able to display this on the shelf, myself included, with all the other Toony Terrors I already have on my shelf, I don't know if I would be able to move ones out of the way to accommodate this backdrop. Well, it does look really super sick to have displayed with the figures, and I do appreciate, of course, that NECA Toys would have included it. I don't know myself if I have the space to accommodate it. By the way, though, just off to the side, we're going to move these figures. Speaking off to the side, just get a closer look. First of all, the detailing done to this, but there's off to the far right, there's the little full moon. So I probably would be going back into the house myself. Such a neat looking backdrop, though. I'm glad to see they included it. Let's put that out of the way and bring those figures back in so you guys can see. We're going to start things first with Jack, and by no means by looking at Jack do I think that he's the weaker of the two. The incentive, I think, for many would be to pick up the set more for the Kessler Wolf, but I gotta say, like, Jack looks just as cool and just as creepy picking up the figure right now and getting a closer look at him. What little there is left of Jack, unfortunately, you can see he's missing his nose. Some horrific detailing done to his face itself. You can see it looks like he's also missing his lips, so not only is his nose clean away, but it also looks like his lips have been ripped right off. Some horrific looking detailing done to the side of his face. I do like the dark gray that they ended up using here, and by adding the darker gray and then adding a dark black on top of it, it really does look like something that you could see in a cartoon. Perhaps maybe even too scary for Scooby, but still a neat looking figure nonetheless. He's got some really tousled looking hair. like really messy hair is the least of his worries right now. Not to mention he's got, look at all these horrific gashes there on the back of his body. War wounds there on the sides of his arms, and you can just see he's been ripped to bits. The front of his body leaving entrails of both blood and likely organs inside of his body. Don't think that just because he's got this over heavy sized jacket that it's keeping everything inside. All the blood and all the things that make up Jack Goodman are basically just bleeding out of his body right now. I do like the darker coloring, again, that they've added to the hands. So carrying the same suit over of the black on top of the gray works quite really nicely on the figure. And again, you've got all these just... Well, these ones here are actually sculpted into the figure's jacket. Down below, though, they've actually just suggested it by only painting it just in the black and in the red. But it does look just gruesome here on Jack. Now, just for this being a figure on the side, I don't really want to, again, consider this to be a side character to the Kessler Wolf. He's just as important as the Kessler Wolf himself, even though Jack is long since deceased. There's no disputing the fact that Jack is good and dead. He still lingers on, as we certainly know in the movie. He does have some decent articulation as well. He's not just a staction piece. His head is on a ball joint, so yeah, he can rotate it all the way around. Just get a good gander. It looks like his neck has also been ripped right open also. Neck does rotate, or a neck allows the head to rotate all the way around. You can have the head looking down, up, and a slightly more confused little nod to the side. The arms also do rotate all the way around. There is no hand articulation. Oh, there is a little bit of hand articulation. The hands were just really, really tight. Turns out, in fact, yes, there is some hand articulation. Legs are staction. There is no waist articulation, and there's no boot articulation either. He has, for some strange reason, peg holes on the undersides of his feet. I don't know if the plan was originally to have a display stand come include with Jack, but again, like, Jack stands fine. Other than being just long since dead, Jack has really no issues standing whatsoever. On to now, though, the Kessler Wolf. Yes, what a glorious specimen you are. You can see he's in more of a hunting position, all crouched down and moving really, really low across the ground. My cat does this also as well. When they think that I'm not actually looking at the cat creeping up on me, I look over, the cat kind of just hides to the side. And then I go back to doing what I'm doing, and you can just see, like, the cat is creeping. Although, luckily for me, my cat does not look like this. Just a neat-looking way they've colored the face here. You've got the yellow eyes there, really dark blood red added underneath that. Loads of detailing added to the top and the bottom of the jaw. You can see big, giant fangs sticking out. All the better to eat you, my dear. And you've got some nice contrasting colors of mostly, I would say, like a chestnut brown, and then added in there is like more of a medium gray. It does pop really nicely here on the figure. He is more of a staction figure, I would say. Like, he does still possess articulation here, and here. Don't worry, we're going to talk more about that later. But while the back of the figure is more the staction statue, he does really have a lot of cool detailing going for him. They've kept the colors pretty simple in this case. He doesn't have as much the colors as the Jack does, but still I think that he makes for a really good looking figure that, again, could look like he's in an episode of Scooby-Doo. Maybe less for Jack, but maybe a little bit more for the Kessler Wolf. But yeah, for the posability on this guy, by the way, he doesn't have any peg holes on the undersides of his feet. I really like the way they've sculpted his hands. That would be some serious case of arthritis. If you have your hands that look like this right now, you may want to be taking medication for that, or seek some attention at least. But for the articulation here on the Kessler Wolf, what it only possesses really is just the arms. Now, the arms almost look like you can have the arms kind of like he's sliding down a hill. Woo! I don't know really why they had to move him back. I mean, really, even though the figure does possess articulation where you can move the arms back and forth, the only correct way, the only natural way is really just to have the hands always down like this. So I almost would have thought, even though I appreciate the fact they would have included articulation here in the shoulders, I don't almost think it's necessary because the figure is always going to be in this particular pose. Sure, you could convince yourself to bring the arms out because you want to do something a little bit different with it. It's not like you can have it up on its hind legs, because just the way they've sculpted the feet, it would be next to impossible. So I would almost have just said, give away all the articulation here in the arms. If anything, maybe put articulation in the waist, but still that would probably likely broken up all the nice fur that they've sculpted in there. And of course, the main one being the articulation in the head. It seems like it's on a ball joint only by the fact it does also look down. It looks only up by a little bit, and you can also rock it back and forth. So there's some decent articulation there for the head. But overall, just a neat looking set. Obviously, one last time, we can move this over. Any chance I get to bring back in the Kessler Wolf, yeah, you know it. What a great comparison to make. What a great time to also be a fan of American Werewolf in London. Not only did we get ourselves, I want to make sure Jack's standing okay, not only did we get ourselves the ultimate version of the Kessler Wolf, superposable, super detailed, and 2 swappable head sculpts, enough to nudge me in the direction of getting a second one, but we now have ourselves a Toony Terrors version. Had a tough time to get that out. Toony Terrors version of the Kessler Wolf. And along with that goes Jack Goodman. Not to say, again, to diminish him. I was more excited, honestly, to get the Kessler Wolf. But I'm glad in this case, Kessler Wolf would have been perfect to go all on his own, but I don't know if I would have suggested to have Jack advertised on his own. I think it's a match made in heaven to have the 2 figures combined together like this. Sorry, just going to move back to the Ultimate Kessler Wolf. But to have the 2 figures packed together makes the most sense, and it gives even more mileage out of wanting to get the set out of just simply getting the Kessler Wolf, which I don't think, again, is the reason why most people are going to be wanting to get this. The benefit of getting a set like this, a 2-pack as cool as this, is not only to get the Kessler Wolf, but to also get the decrepit, decaying Jack Goodman as well. Again, one nice touch that I really like that NECA included with the Toony Terrors release of Jack Goodman and the Kessler Wolf was the backdrop that had the slaughtered lamb. I did mention it was an inn, it was more of a pub, but the fact that they would have actually included that as a possible backdrop for you, the collecting community, to be able to display behind both the Kessler and Jack is a fun touch again. Now, this one at least does stand better, as we've certainly seen in times before when it comes usually to these backdrops. They're always ones that you have to cut out on the back of the card, and there's really no standee or anything included. So in the times that I have displayed them in the past, I usually just rest them against the back of the wall and I have the figures in front of it. These ones actually give you kind of more of a diorama that you can display along with the Wolf and Jack. Both nice looking figures from NECA Toys. Obviously, I like the Kessler Wolf, but I gotta say there's a lot of cool charm going on with Jack Goodman. Again, what's left of him. Poor guy's been ripped to bits. They haven't held back either when it comes to the blood. Some of the, probably the goriest, I think, Toony Terrors figure we've gotten from NECA is poor Jack Goodman here. And of course, no slouch is Jack Goodman, although my favorite figure of the set is still, I think, the Kessler Wolf. Kessler Wolf is a great looking figure. They found a way also to toonerize, that's not even really a word, but to make it a cartoonier version of Kessler Wolf, while still in keeping a lot of the character traits of that character. The mouth is closed in this case, but you can see all the big fangs colored brightly in here in yellow, not to mention the piercing yellow eyes that they've also done on the figure as well. Now, for the articulation, the Kessler Wolf has still in the shoulders. The front of the arms can move back and forth. But realistically, the way you're going to be posing this anyways, it's always going to be sitting on all 4 legs. So I don't know why they would have even incorporated articulation. I always appreciate when they do, but I think in a case like Kessler Wolf, they probably could have saved the mold and just molded the entire back body as one piece and have the head as a separate piece that could swivel back and forth. I mean, again, it's nice that they included it so that you could say, at least on paper, that the Kessler Wolf has 3 points of articulation, but in honest fact, for what you're going to be posing the figure with, it really only has 1 point of articulation, not really necessarily 3. Once again, a big thank you, though, to the folks over at NECA Toys that did provide the sample of the Toony Terrors American Werewolf in London, Jack Goodman, and the Kessler Wolf. Have you had the chance yet to pick up this set? If you have, what do you think of it? Let me know down below in the comments section. And what's your favorite werewolf movie? We're going to just throw that out there as a question for the day. What's your favorite werewolf movie? Is it American Werewolf in London? I hope nobody's going to say an American Werewolf in Paris. We never really want to talk about American Werewolf in Paris. But what is your favorite werewolf movie? Let me know down below in the comments section. Certainly as well, if you enjoyed this video, hit with a like. If you're loving the content you're seeing and do want to stick around for more, Spottober is still on its way. We're not wrapping up just yet. The shop's not closing. No way, no how. We still have some spookerific reviews coming your way during the rest of what's left of this month. So make sure as you hit the subscribe button down below, you're turning on the bell notification and keeping ghoulish peepers peeled at all times, because there's definitely going to be a lot more videos coming your way. As always, thanks for watching. See you guys next time.